Today we are going to introduce you to our existing family of the Crop-A-Diles. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of Crop-A-Diles, and I'm excited to show you the differences, what's different between each kind, and then you can make an educated decision on what you need for your crafting. We're going to start with the original Crop-A-Dile. You may have seen this guy before. And I wanted to show you some of the features on this guy right here. All right, so this little knob right here is the lock button. So you can just squeeze the handles, depress that button, and it will open up your Crop-A-Dile and lock it again. So if you want to store it locked shut, you can, or if you want to store it locked open, you can. But that releases the handle so that it can squeeze. The thing about all the Crop-A-Diles in the Crop-A-Dile family is they have awesome punch power. So I'm going to use this to just punch through a few things to show you exactly what it can do. The original Crop-A-Dile has two sizes of hole punches. They're on each side of the tool right here and right here. One is a 3 1/16 inch hole, and the other is a 1/8 inch hole. And you can see, if I move these, you can see how the hole punch is depressed on the side of each one like that. So that's where you'll be doing your punching, is on these two sides. Let's punch through some heavier materials. So this is 2mm chipboard. Just punches right through, just like butter. And that is a feature of all of these Crop-A-Diles. They punch through so many heavy materials. Let's try leather. Right through the leather. We've got foam. There's the foam. This is burlap. Couple layers of felt. And this is a heavier acrylic. It just punches right through. All of the Crop-A-Diles have that awesome punch power. They can punch through heavier materials really cleanly. They can even punch through tin and balsa wood, which I didn't have here to show today. But also try stacking up multiple sheets of paper. It will punch through multiple sheets of cardstock at a time. Really awesome, clean, perfect punches. Some more features about the original Crop-A-Dile. This also sets eyelets, so it will punch holes and set eyelets. It does not, however, set snaps. We get that question a lot, so we wanted to be really clear about that. The eyelet setting function is here on this end of the tool. So while your hole punching is here, which we already covered, your eyelet setting is up here. Now, included in your Crop-A-Dile are these instructions. And on this, I'm going to fold it because what we want that is relevant to us right now is this cube chart right here. Okay, so this shows you how to set your Crop-A-Dile depending on what kind of eyelet you are setting. So I'm going to put this right here to refer to. The most common kinds are the 3/16 eyelet and the 1/8 eyelet. So that's A1 and C3. And I'll tell you what I mean about that, okay? What I mean when I'm saying A1 and C3. So these little cubes right here on the Crop-A-Dile, if you pull them toward the center, then you can rotate them. And there are markings on them. So on this bottom one, it's going to be hard for you to see, but if you look on your Crop-A-Dile, there's a number, there's numbers 1 through 4 on this cube, and there's alphabets on this cube, A, B, C, D. And so you just set your cubes to follow this cube chart here to match your type of eyelet that you want to set. So let's set a 3/16 eyelet. So I'm going to turn my cubes to A and 1. Find A and 1. Okay, so A and 1 are now facing this center part right here in my Crop-A-Dile. Okay, let's grab one of these things that I've already punched, and we'll just set an eyelet in it really quick. So these are 3/16 eyelets. And this hole that I've already punched, I'm just going to pop my eyelet into it just like that. Now, also on your Crop-A-Dile, there are some markings right here and right here that tell you the right way to hold it on your eyelet. So this one has a little picture of an eyelet. Turn it this way. Little picture of an eyelet with a down arrow. That's the top of your eyelet goes to the top of that cube, all right? And then the base would go down here where it says base. So I'm just going to pick this up with my eyelet in place. I like to kind of grab it with the top cube because it holds it in place better. And then I'm just going to squeeze to set the eyelet. So if you wanted to change this for a smaller eyelet, you would just refer to the chart and then turn your cubes to match. Super easy. Okay, some other awesome features about this tool. On this side here where you're punching, if you wanted to have consistent punches across something, let me grab a piece of paper here. This little guide right here is a 1-inch reach, and it's adjustable so that you can set how far away from the edge you are punching your holes so that they can be exactly in a line on the same plane. So you just adjust it by sliding this lever right here. There's just a little black lever that slides back and forth. So you can make it up to 1-inch depth or shallow all the way down to as tiny as you can go. And that allows you to continually punch in a straight line using that guide. So that feature we call the depth guide, and that's how you adjust it. And you can adjust it on both sides for the smaller hole and the larger hole. There's one more thing I want to show you using the original Crop-A-Dile. And this also applies to the big bite, which I'll show you in a moment. Let's set one more eyelet, a regular 3/16 eyelet, because I want to show you the difference between different types of eyelets. The Crop-A-Diles do work with most eyelets on the market. So I'm just going to set this eyelet. There we have a regular set eyelet, and you'll see on the back how the eyelet splits. That's absolutely normal for eyelets to split like that when you set them with a Crop-A-Dile or any other eyelet setting tool. If you want to avoid that and have a more polished look to your eyelet backs, you'll want to buy this type of eyelet. It comes with a little washer that finishes off the back nicely. So let's set that the same way. I'm just going to pop my eyelet in the front and the washer on the back. But we do need to refer to our chart one more time. This chart shows you that you need to make one small adjustment to the settings on your cubes for eyelets with washers. So I'm just going to turn from number 1 to number 2. All right, it's ready to go. Making sure I have the top of the eyelet and the bottom of the eyelet on the right cube. We're going to go ahead and squeeze. And there's our eyelet from the front and from the back. And you'll see that with that washer, it doesn't split and it's a nice finished back. So that's a great one to use on tags or other things where the back of your eyelet will be visible. Let's transition to the next member of the Crop-A-Dile family. It's called the Big Bite. So what is the difference between the Big Bite and the original Crop-A-Dile? Well, first of all, let's talk about the similarities. Same awesome punch power, right? Still punches 2 sizes of holes, the 1/8 and the 3/16. The difference though is that this one has a much longer reach. So where our original Crop-A-Dile has a 1-inch reach right here of how far in we can punch our hole, the Big Bite has a 6-inch reach. So you can put your paper all the way back here and reach all the way to the middle of a 12 by 12 paper. So you can see that I can put that all the way to the middle and punch holes right in the middle of a large piece of paper. So that's the awesome thing about the Big Bite, and that's the main difference. It sets eyelets the same way, and it has a lot of the same features. So for punching on our original Crop-A-Dile, we had the 2 sides that punch the holes. This one, both hole punches originate from right here. So you squeeze this one handle, and you can see right now that's the bigger hole punch. And if I want to select the smaller hole, on the top here is the gauge, and it shows me which size hole I'm punching. So I just slide this over, and now it's on the 1/8. And now you can see that this smaller hole punch is dropping down, right? And then again, for this front part is where we set our eyelets. Again, it's the same switch. Move it all the way up so that you can see the little eyelet in the window on the switch. And then that disengages both punches so that while you're setting your eyelet, you don't accidentally punch a hole next to it while you're squeezing your handle. So that's the main difference. Now, another thing that's different about this one is our depth gauge. So this does still have a depth gauge, but it's found right here on the ruler. So right here is a ruler that has 3 lines of measurement on it. Each of these 3 rulers you use depending on which hole punch you're using, and they are indicated. So this forwardmost one right here is the ruler for the 3/16 hole. And the reason that there's 3 different ruler markings is because these are set off from each other. So if you're doing an eyelet set, there's the one ruler line for setting the eyelet because it sets it way up here. So the ruler is adjusted to 0 for there. If you're doing a 1/8 inch punch, then the ruler guide is offset to match for 0 at that location. And then again, the third ruler line is for when you're set to the 3/16 because it's all the way back here. So the ruler is adjusted to 0 for that as well. So that way you can get accurate punching. And then there's also this little sliding ruler, this guide right here that slides along the rulers so that you can get that same exact placement every time by just resting the edge of your paper up against that stopper. This big bite will also punch through everything hefty just like the original Crop-A-Dile did. All right, let's move away from eyelet setting for now and show you some other awesome members of the Crop-A-Dile family. So we have 5 different corner chomping tools here. Each color is a different style of corner rounder or chopper, right? And they're called the chompers. So let me show you some of the things they can do. Same awesome punch power. They can punch through chipboard. So I'll show you this one here. So the first thing you want to do is open up these 2 little guide flaps. Each of these are the same. They all open and close right here. And that just helps you to get your paper in the corner very accurately. So let's start with this chipboard so you can see the punch power I mean. So very simply, with very little effort, I was able to punch that chipboard. So that's the awesome thing about Crop-A-Dile, right? It has that awesome power. This corner chomper does 2 sizes of corners. So one side of the punch does a 1/2 inch corner round, and the other side does a 1/4 inch corner round. So that's this very first one. Another thing it's great to know about these is how to empty the little waste bin. So while it's open like this, you just pop open the top of the lid like this, and then you can dump out any of the waste. Mine is pretty clean. It just has those last few punches in there. But once that gets filled up, your punch might not work as well. So I would suggest cleaning that frequently. All right. So there's our first style, the 1/4 and 1/2 inch round. This yellow one is a 1/8 and 3/8 inch corner round. Works just the same way. So there's one side, turn it around, and there's the other side, just a very subtle corner round. And that one, the waste cleans just the same way. This one is a little bit different. This one has 2 sizes of angles. So there's a small side angle and a large angle. Let's open that up. So there's the first side, that's the large angle. And then a small little angle there. So you can see the 2 sizes that it's able to do. Thought I might as well just show you all of them so you can see what your options are. This one is a photo corner and an angle. So let's do the photo corner first. You can kind of see that little notch, like if you put one of those little gold foil photo corners on. And then the other side is another angle. It's the same as the large angle. So those are the 2 on the photo and angle. And the last one is a stub and a scallop. All right, the stub, it's like a ticket stub, those little rounded corners. So you can see that there. And then the other side is a scallop. So 2 little rounded corners. I want to make sure you can see that one. These are really fun for using in combination with one another. You can do different layered mats on a card or on a photo. You can round the corners of anything. It's so fun to have so many different options. Plus, if it's a heavier material, again, go ahead and chomp the corner of your leather if you wanted to give it a nice decorative edge. So those are the corner chompers. The next member of the Crop-A-Dile family are the power punches. So these are the power punches. Now, one of mine is going to be not like the others. I have an older version of this punch. Now the handle is cream, that nice creamy white, but mine is an older version, so it's orange. But these power punches have some same awesome features as the original Crop-A-Dile, where they can punch through so many heavy materials, I wanted to show you the different types of punch styles on these as well. So this, you can see here, has an extra little bit on it. This is a guide, and this is a disc power punch. You can make evenly spaced holes for your disc planner pages. These punches lock closed, so you'll slide this little lever here to unlock them, to unlock the handle. And let's grab some paper and I can show you how this one works. So you make your first punch. On the very top of this, you can see this centering line. So that's where your very first punch will end up. Okay, so you can make your first punch there. Okay. And then you can use that punch to line up the next punch. So I just set the paper down on top. It's a raised little guide there. So it holds your paper right in place while you punch the next one. And then you can just keep moving it over this way until you get a nice little row of punches ready to go into your disc planner. So that is the very first one. Okay, the other shapes that you can get. Now this is the one that's cream now. Mine is older, but this is called a Euro tab punch. And this is great for those of you who have your own at-home businesses. This punches this cute little shape here for hanging things on, right? So if you had a jewelry business or something where you were carding your product and you needed some way to hang it, this little Euro punch is a great way to do it. Okay, and it punches through heavy things. So even if your backer that you're punching through is a heavier chipboard, punch through just like butter. I wanted to also show you on these how to empty the waste bin on these. So just like the Corner Chompers has to collect the little punch bits somewhere, right? So on these, you just flip the lid open like right there, and you can see them all just sitting right in there, right? So you can just dump them out, and then you can empty that every so often. Keeps your punch working great. Okay, the next two are just standard hole punches. This one is a 1/4 inch. And if you're ever wondering which one you're grabbing, it says it right here on the end. Open that up. And this one just does a nice 1/4 inch hole. So these also have depth guides, just like the other Crop-A-Diles, where this depth guide right here allows you to set the depth. So that's also really nice on things like that Euro punch where you want it to always be in the same place on your card. You can just set that depth and it will always be in the same place. So that's the 1/4 inch. And then this last one is the little teeny little tiny 1/16 hole. And I don't know if you can see that. It's so tiny. So you could do a whole row of these using that depth guide, and you could do a little line of stitches. Just if you want a tiny little placement for a brad, that makes the brad just slide in so nice and easy. So these are super helpful, super handy addition to the Crop-A-Dile family. All right, I have one more set of punches that I want to show you. Okay, so these are our multi-hole punches. And you'll see on these that these are, in fact, multi-hole punches. And this just turns super easily to get all of those different sizes of hole punches. So versatile, so easy to use. They work great with chipboard. Let's start with chipboard. I like to do that to show you what it can do. Just so simple, punches a hole. So this first one, the handle indicates that it's a different set of punches. So this first one is all circles. So I don't know if you can see that, but it goes all the way from a 1/16 hole, that tiny one that was just on the power punch, all the way up to a 5/16 hole. And these are really nice because on my cut apart sheets, when I have tags, I like to use this because I have all of the hole options right there. So I can, no matter what size the designer had decided to make the hole in the tag, I can match it with my multi-punch. Also, I wanted to show you on this one, you can see these indentation lines. Those are your depth guides on this set of Crop-A-Diles, the multi-punch. So you can just line your paper up to that line and punch. So there's that tiny one, and then I just rotate it. The next one can just move right along. So there's all the sizes on the circle punch. The next one is the decorative multi-punch. And this one has a variety of different little shapes that it can punch the holes for. So the first one is a heart. So there's your little heart. There's a little flower, a star, a hexagon, and an arrow. There's all the shapes for the decorative multi-punch. And this last one is called the functional multi-punch. It has some fun hole shapes as well. Let's just punch them real quick. So this one does a buttonhole where it's the two holes together, a square, a horizontal line, a slit, a vertical slit, and then this last one is a circle. So there's some fun shapes there as well. These don't have a waste collector. The punch pieces just fall out just like a normal punch. A little tip I have with these is some people find them kind of heavy because you're getting all of that punch power and that heavy duty punching up here. So what I found is if you just set it flat on the edge of a table, rotate it to what you want to punch, set it flat on the table and slide it in, it's a lot easier to hold that way if it feels heavy in your hand. That's just a little tip that I like to share. I hope you've liked meeting all of these members of the Crop-A-Dile family. There are so many awesome punches and tools for setting eyelets in this little family of tools, and we hope that you enjoy crafting with them as much as we do.